It is so beautiful and just begging to be a garland. Now, does that look good? I really like going full maximalist at Christmas time. For another touch, let's see what we think about these. Yep, I'm doing it. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Bella. I love all things design and DIY, and today I'm gonna show you how I created this garland install behind me. This was super easy. I'm gonna go over some of my tips for working with winter greens inside. This was kind of just about placing all of the right things in the right places. So we're gonna go over everything. You don't need any tools, so let's get started. I have with me here 3 bunches of Arizona cypress. I think it's Arizona. I know it's cypress, but don't take my word for it. It is so beautiful and just begging to be a garland. And so that's what I'm gonna do today. I kind of like to treat this as my makeshift mantle. Even though there's no fireplace involved, that's just how I like to imagine it. And so at this time of year, it's really fun to decorate. Now, I've already started on some light Christmas here. I have these fall sort of blooms. These are silk dahlias up here. I'm gonna remove those because they're a little bit too harvesty. I might move them to a different room. And then I have this really pretty garland. It's just kind of pretty folk art painting. So I don't find it to be too overtly Christmas. So I'm gonna set that aside and incorporate it into the garland when we're done. This is not gonna be a garland tutorial, I don't think. I might do one of those later in the season. I just wanna kind of lay the stuff down here because the cypress is so long and straight. I think it'll nicely just fill this out. However, my absolute favorite person on YouTube who I'm always mentioning is Rajiv Surendra. If you don't watch him, like, please do it. If you like anything that I do here, trust me, his content is going to be like sensory overload in the absolute best way for you, because he just is my goals and dreams to be as a person. He has a really great garland tutorial. I'll link it down below if you want to actually construct something that you can like hang and make like sweeping boughs with. So I like something like this. I've never used cypress in my Christmas decor before, but I really love it just as a green in general. I like using things like this at Christmas as opposed to pine or spruce because they don't drop. I love having fresh foliage inside, but I don't want to have to deal with things like falling everywhere just if you look at them the wrong way. So when this dries out, it's not going to start shedding everywhere. Other foliage I really like for that is cedar. Cedar doesn't really drop at all. Boxwood, if you're into more of like a kind of traditional Christmas look, boxwood is really pretty. And it might drop a little bit, but not really. It kind of dries in place. I think what I'm going to do here, actually, I have one touch I need to add first, and that is my lady. She is going to go back up here. She was on a pedestal table, and that's just not where she needs to be for the Christmas season. I have 2 more Nancy Drew books that I'm adding to my collection. If you haven't been following along, I'm trying to reinstate my vintage Nancy Drew collection that I used to have as a child, and I want to bring back to life. So I'm just picking them up slowly as I find them, and so far I have 5, which is coming along very nicely. I'm just going to start laying these down. I'm going to kind of do, starting from the center, working out both ways with large pieces that kind of sweep over the edge of it, and then I'll fill out with smaller pieces to cover up in the middle where the 2 points meet. Something like this, it has a nice like drape to it. Also 2 sort of stems coming off, so this can kind of nestle in the front a little bit. Also, don't be afraid to kind of bend the branches a little bit. A lot of times they're pretty malleable when they're still fresh, and then they can kind of dry in place like that. So that is a great piece to start with. Wow, that already looks so festive. This piece, that's a great piece to start with. So let's put that going this way. Okay, this is already looking, not that I didn't think it would look great, but it's already looking better than I thought it would. Maybe we'll do one that kind of goes up a little bit. maybe we won't. I'm loving it. Okay, at this point I'm gonna stand back and see what I think. As fun as it is doing this, I think you need to know when enough is enough. And I think I have a nice amount on here now, except like I'm wondering if I should do like a little something down here or if that's gonna be too much. This is a struggle for me because I am so someone who is of the mindset that more is more, not less is more, and so it's kind of hard for me to know when to stop. Okay, this will be my last piece, I promise. Stick that in there. Yes. Now for this, I'm not sure how I want to do this. Now, does that look good? I don't know. Now I do really want to add more is my problem. Oh, I was gonna add some red berries. I have a very chaotic bag of Christmas stuff here that I'm just digging out of. I also have these, oh my gosh, these bows that I was gonna put on my tree last year, and then they kind of ended up being a little bit too much. But I might incorporate them into here because I love the look of just single loop satin bows on garlands. I think it's really pretty, very just relaxed. So I have a bunch of these. I might incorporate those after. I also have some beach left over. That could make its way in there. So I could just do those like, boop. Just for a little bit of depth. I think that's really pretty. I have this garland from the thrift store that I've just been like plucking out of. So I've just been pulling them out like this. I always figure at Christmas time, if you want to experiment with like a more maximalist kind of style, this is the perfect time to do it because everything is so non-committal. You get to test things out for a few months or a few weeks depending on how early you start decorating. You can maybe add a little bit more every year or take away if you decide that it's not quite you. I really like going full maximalist at Christmas time because I already kind of am that way, but at this time of year I think it's the perfect excuse to just live out all of your decor fantasies, and then you get to strip everything back in January and just feel like you have a nice clean fresh start ready for spring, and I love both of those feelings. This is really pretty with the berries. There's nothing better than that feeling when you look back at what you're decorating and you realize that it's working really well. Now, should I put a few sprigs in the bottom is the question. Yes. That was easy. I love when it just works out perfectly like this and you could just place things and every branch is exactly right. Now you might be wondering about the convenience of this, but I'll just move that when I need to get into that drawer. I think it's okay. Yeah, that's fine. Now for another touch, let's see what we think about these. Yep, I'm doing it. I think that's really pretty. I'm really loving this hint of blue for Christmas. I did this last year with my boxwood wreaths on these doors, and then I spruced them up in a previous video, which I'll link down below, with some berries and the dark peach leaves. And I am just loving this combo of green, red, brown, and blue. The red and blue, I think they just match so nicely with the natural elements. That's so cute. Again, I won't know if this actually looks good until I stand back, so bear with me. One of my best tips at this time of year, if you're going for like a very natural, relaxed kind of look, unless you're wanting to manipulate your ribbon in a specific style, stay away from wired ribbon. As a florist, I have some pretty big opinions about ribbon, and I don't like wired ribbon. It definitely does serve a purpose, like if you're doing an outdoor urn or a wreath or something and you want to create like nice spirals on your bows and really big bows with structure in the loops, then yes, go with wired ribbon. And you can get really nice wired ribbon. It's not all bad. But for something like this, if you want this really nice like drapey look, don't get ribbon that has wires in it. Also, when you're picking out satin, like this is nice. It's wrinkled because it's been in a box all year, but it will kind of loosen up. But this satin, see how much weight there is to this? That's what you want. There's definitely really bad faux satins out there that are not at all going to give you this look. Wow, this is extremely extra. Now I will stand back and see if I went way too over the top. So I hope you enjoyed that little Christmas installation. I have not put my tree up yet because I don't quite have enough time in my days right now to do that. So it's all about just adding little touches like this everywhere I can to hold me over until I can put my tree up. But stay tuned for that. I'm gonna see if I can film it because I think that'll be really interesting. And like I say about a lot of other things, I have a lot of opinions about Christmas trees. So I would love to share all of those with you. So you can subscribe if you want to know when I post that video and when I post any other Christmas content just like this. And I will see you back here next time.